hoped that his inauguration would be brought in by a superstar, like President Obama had with Beyonce and Aretha Franklin.
Remember Stevie?
He had
incredible.
Aretha. But his top choice declined his invitation. The New York Times reports that Sir Elton John rejected the president's inauguration invitation via email, citing that due to his British nationality, he felt it would no longer be appropriate to play at the inauguration of an American president. This rejection proved to be particularly difficult for Trump because he has thought of him as a friend. In multiple books, Trump has praised John's talent and drive. In 2005, Trump had arranged for John to perform at his third wedding to Melania. Throughout his presidency, Trump has paid homage to Elton John by playing his songs at rallies and even affectionately nicknaming his friend Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man, a reference to John's hit Rocket Man. But the rejection appears to have hurt the president. Recently, Trump has focused on topping the attendance records and ticket sales of Elton John. And last summer, Trump claimed that he broke the crowd size record in an arena in Montana, saying, quote, "I have broken more Elton John records. He seems to have a lot of records, and I, by the way, don't have a musical instrument. I don't have a guitar or an organ. No organ. Elton has an organ, and lots of other people helping. No, we've broken a lot of records. We've broken virtually every record."
Jonathan Lemire, the saddest part of this story was when Donald Trump asked his staff members, had anybody been writing about the Elton John attendance records that he supposedly broke? They said no, and he was angry and upset for days about that. Also claiming that it was one more example of how, in the immortal words of Rodney Dangerfield, he don't get no respect.
No respect and no organ. He made that very clear in that quote. The president has long been a huge fan of Elton John. You're right. I mean, as the article points out, he had the singer set up to perform at his wedding. It was known on the campaign plane during the 2015-2016 campaign that he would play Elton John at like eardrum rupturing decibels on the plane, sometimes late at night when staffers were trying to sleep, coming back to New York from an event in Wisconsin or Michigan, wherever it may be, and he would play Elton John loudly on the plane, in part because he feels like sleeping is a sign of weakness, according to staffers who were subjected to Tiny Dancer again and again and again. And I will say on a personal note, as someone who has covered well more than 100 Trump rallies during that campaign and since, the Elton John stuff, Elton John is a major part of the playlist still, but Funeral for a Friend, Mike Barnicle, is the one song on the playlist that I haven't gotten tired of. I still really like it.
Well, Joe, this is a really sad story because the president clearly has been jilted by Elton John, and maybe they should play Candle in the Wind.
Hey, there we go.
Because of the end of this relationship. But, Jonathan, you're absolutely right. Joe, you remember this from the get-go up in New Hampshire, the playlist on his rallies in New Hampshire always included multiple Elton John songs.
Multiple. And Bob Costa, he would tell me, it seemed once a week, that Elton John told him he was the biggest star in the world without a guitar or a piano. This has been on his mind for a very, very long time, going back to 2015.
I actually remember in 2015, he was then Mr. Trump, covering him, trying to get an interview, and I was sitting in the back of his private plane waiting to go on the record with Mr. Trump, and he was reviewing different articles about his rally at the time, and there was a live concert recording of Elton John that was playing. It was one of the rare times ever covering Mr. Trump, now President Trump, where I did not see him watching cable news, but he was relaxing in a sense, if that's the word to use, by having a live Elton John performance going on the plane. And Corey Lewandowski and Hope Hicks were there, and that was the atmosphere in the summer of 2015. But he's someone I've never been able as a reporter to try to draw him out on these issues. You think about his campaign rallies, he always ends it with the Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want. What's that about? What's this Elton John thing about? I just haven't been able, as George H.W. Bush would often say to Maureen Dowd, I'm not going to sit on the couch and reflect on those kind of things.
Exactly. So, Bob Costa, before we go, what are you going to be reflecting on this week other than the president's favorite jilted pop star? What are you working on?
Well, I'm here on Capitol Hill, and put aside all the Elton John stuff and all the other noise that's out there, is the president going to get the USMCA through this Congress or not with Speaker Pelosi? And is anything going to happen on gun control, whether it's background checks or red flag laws? Because we're quickly approaching 2020, and Congress is going to get into campaign mode by December, January. So between now and then, is anything going to happen? It's going to take political capital from this president, from the White House.
And so Carl Holz yesterday had an interesting article in the New York Times where he talked about Mitch McConnell doing nothing and just being frozen, waiting to hear from Donald Trump. And many observers inside of the Senate wondering why Mitch McConnell was paying such deference to a president. And it's ironic because Mitch McConnell had told me at the Republican convention that one of the things he liked about Donald Trump, if Trump would be president, is that they would just send things to Donald Trump and he would sign the bills. Now, here we are 3 years later. It's just the reverse. Mitch McConnell has completely forfeited his Article I powers and says he won't do anything until Donald Trump gives him permission to do anything.
And he also knows, Joe, that in divided government, it's very different. Speaker Pelosi and President Trump have to come to an agreement if anything's going to get through this Republican-controlled Senate. That's not to say Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell couldn't lean in himself and try to really put something through. But he's focused, as ever, on the judiciary, nominating these conservative judges. That's his historical project. And legislation, he leaves that, for the most part, up to the Speaker and the President.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Alex Corson just told me that you look at this Bob Costa appearance.
That's ACOR, but yeah.
Yeah, this was at least a 66 point
I'd say.
appearance for
Yeah.
him. I mean, I think he may have even done better than Notre Dame this weekend.
We'll see.
But, with
Bob Costa.
but Joe, we have Georgia coming up, SEC. I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
That's,
I can see.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Georgia, anytime Georgia comes to town, that's a great reason to be nervous. Now, are they going to be in South Bend, or are they?
No, they're going to be down
in
in Athens. Down in Athens.
Ooh,
Athens or Atlanta?
The hedges. Okay.
All right, Robert Costa, thank you very much.
We may have to meet up there, Bob.